Hello my lovelies, and welcome to the channel this week. I'm out here in the polytunnel. I don't know if you can tell, but we have blue skies, the sun is shining, and all is well with the world. It's time to start getting some seeds sown. There's just something about when the weather turns like this that mood comes upon you and you're like, I need to get these seeds sown. For me anyway, there's something really exciting and special about growing your own food, and flowers for that matter. There's that great sense of anticipation of crops to be harvested and maybe potential new things to try. You know, there's just such a sense of exhilaration and enjoyment and pride that you get from eating something that you've grown yourself. And if you have an abundance of that crop, being able to share it out with family and friends is also a really beautiful thing. You know, when we start seeds off, quite often we will share some of the plants as they come along with other people that we know who are growing, and likewise they'll share things with us, which is a really lovely way of getting different plants within your garden and trying new things too, because we all have different tastes and get quite set in our ways and the things that we know work for us. But somebody will go, oh here, you must try this, and you give it a whirl and it would be something that's completely not on your radar, but you think, okay, I'll give it a try, and it can just absolutely blow your mind. So with that said, let's get some seeds planted. I have a smaller cell seed tray, and again I'm just going to go in and poke a hole in here in all these cells. This next crop that I'm going to start is really important to us. We love this herb and can't get enough of it. It's great to get started here in the polytunnel. It does tend to go really leggy, so my intention this year is to start it in here and then get it planted outside so that it grows a little bit slower but is also a lot more bushy instead of tall and has a lot more foliage on it. So this is dill. We absolutely, well, David and I absolutely love dill. It just, I don't know, there's something about the flavour. So I'm just going to pop a couple of seeds in each one. And again, these can get planted out in clumps. So it doesn't matter if you're a little bit heavy-handed. Sometimes not all the seeds take, so it's good to have a backup. And for those of you who haven't really gardened before, you can see just how simple this is to get started. You know, it's not any great hardship. A lot of people, I think, are scared to get started with gardening because they think, oh, I can't do it, you know, I don't know what I'm doing. And that's part of the fun of gardening, is that you get to learn as you go along. Okay, so let's cover these over. And this is one of those crops that is always good to have a cloche that goes over the top. It's one of those clear plastic covers, and that just allows the heat to get in, because dill is not very frost hardy, or certainly we've found it's not. And although the sun is shining here and it's a glorious day, we did have a frost this morning and it was quite chilly. It was really cold last night when I was coming back from bringing Isla from her music lesson. So that is the dill planted. I'll just put these seeds back in their packet if I can without spilling them everywhere, because That's just how I roll. And we will write a label for that. These wee ice cream sticks are very, very handy. So time to move on to the next tray. I have got some small little 7cm, or maybe the 10cm pots here, and I am going to start sowing some broad beans into them. Broad beans are a crop that I absolutely love. I'm just going to start off by making a wee hole in here so I can plant the seed in, and you can get loads of different varieties. This first one is called Whitcomb Manita, and it's fast growing and quick to mature. I really enjoy eating broad beans. Kids aren't that keen on them, but that's fine. But it's because we're not past that first frost. I'm not going to plant these directly out. If you're somewhere a little bit warmer, you could probably get away with planting it straight out into the ground. But because we're up here in the northwest, I'm going to start these off in pots, and then once they get a little bit stronger, they can be transplanted outside. And hopefully the slugs and snails will not get to them. I was absolutely gutted last year, just with the issue we had with the contaminated manure. It really deformed the plants, and so I didn't get a great crop. I'm hoping this year is going to be my year. I'll just label these up. Beans Manita. Just stick that in one of these. My eldest was in here organising the polytunnel for us over the weekend, and she made sure that we had plenty of Sharpies in here, which is a must because we're always looking out for things to label plants, especially when you've got lots of seedling trays going on. It's good to know what you've got, so having a way of labelling them up is really quite important, because you always tell yourself, oh yeah, I'll remember, but it just doesn't work out that way. Now this next one David's not quite so enthusiastic about because it's a flower, but for me it's very important because it's a really medicinal flower. It is a calendula, and this one is kind of multicoloured. That's yellows and oranges. Fiesta gitana, but it's still Calendula officinalis. And this is also a really good companion plant. So I always grow calendula, and I dry most of the flowers to either be used in teas or to infuse oil with. So it is a really important one for me to grow. Just because I am kind of ramping up the amount that I'm trying to save so that I can infuse oils with it, and then with the intention of making my own products to sell. So as much as I can grow myself is really important to me, because it then means that I don't have to go and buy some that's been grown and ready dried in I don't know what conditions. At least I know that this hasn't been sprayed with anything, and it's just doing its thing. So I'm putting a few seeds here in each one, again just to make sure. Got a couple more and then we're done. So yeah, this is a really important crop for me. You know, they are a great companion plant. They will attract the pests towards them and away from what you're growing. but they seem to do really, really well. Another name for them is pot marigold. They're quite often grown in pots. They differ from the African marigold. You know, they've not got that big blousy head on them. They're quite an open flower, but I see their smiling faces when I go out and the sun is shining, and they bring a smile to my face. Next up we have got another medicinal plant. This is mullein, and this actually has a 2-year lifespan, this plant, so it only flowers in the 2nd year, and it is really good for respiratory problems, and it is also really good at when you infuse it into an oil for like sore ears. Now these seeds are teeny tiny, so when you have to sprinkle a few in each cell, and then sort of thin out the weaker ones. So I'm going to do that. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear the quad from the farm next door in the background. The weather's good. That's a busy time for the next door too. Oh my goodness, I can't get a pinch of seeds, my fingers are too big. So just a sprinkling in each cell, and then we'll see what comes up. These do grow really, really tall, but the flower on them in the 2nd year is absolutely stunning. So this can be used sort of multiple ways. You can make tea from it, you know, you can infuse it in the oils like I mentioned, you can make a tincture with it by infusing it in alcohol, you can, well, I know some people actually smoke it, it's not something that I do, but anyway, some people get the benefits of it that way. It's just a really powerful plant. If you are going to use the leaves, you do need to be aware of the fact that the leaves are covered in these really fine hairs, and that can be irritating to your respiratory system, so you just have to be really careful about straining off anything that you get when you're infusing the leaves and things. Next up, I think we're going to go with some chervil. Now this is a herb that I love it every time I have it, but I don't really use it that often, so I want to use it more this year. Now, I've had these seeds for a couple of years, so I'm not sure how we're going to go, but we'll see how we get on, because it didn't do very well the last time, but that was probably down to me not looking after it very well. So we'll just do a couple of rows of chervil and see how we get on. It's another one that we can succession plant and plant about the place in clumps. Now that's the beauty of growing your own, is you can pick and choose exactly what you like and, you know, work it that way. I love coming out here and saying, okay, I've got this out for dinner, what can I add to it to enhance it? And just picking a few different things each time is so satisfying. I'm gonna add some coriander seeds into the last couple of rows, because coriander is a must. And again, we're going to sprinkle a few seeds in each cell so that we can dot these about the place. And coriander is great because if it goes to seed, well, if it gets too leggy and it starts flowering, the flowers are delicious. Not only are they delicious, but once it starts going to seed, you can gather your own seed, and then, you know, if you choose to dry them, you can use them as a spice or keep them until the next growing season. So that's pretty cool. I like that about them. There's something really lovely about the fresh coriander seeds. They're really, really zingy. I'll label that one up. I think that will do us for now. So now that we have sown some seeds, we'd better give them a good drink. It's always important to water the seed trays. Just give these a drink while I'm at it. I refreshed the soil in with the thyme there, so it wasn't looking too healthy. And when we were clearing out in here, we actually found a surprise catmint plant. I'll give you a wee tour around because it's looking a wee bit different in here from the last time you were in here with me. Over in this corner we have a self-seeded New Zealand spinach plant. So we've left that in there because that's a really good source of greenery at this time of year, and it grows great in salads and it wilts down beautifully in foods too. Over here up the end we've brought the big silver bench in from outside, and it's currently housing all our strawberry plants. So the strawberry plants were in containers and fish boxes outside over the winter, and we've just brought them in because by the time the tomatoes are ready to go in, I haven't sown them yet, these should have finished fruiting. And this table will make a very handy bench for all the seedlings to go on. We found it really useful last year, so we're giving it another whirl this year and it'll come out at some point. Around this side is where I have put those seeds that we've just planted together, and we've got the bench above that, which is also going to hold seed trays as and when we need them. The silver beet, rainbow chard, I grew up calling it silver beet, but this is rainbow chard. This is actually last year's crop and it's still going really strong, so we are going to keep harvesting from it and see how it gets on. It may stay in for another year or it may not, but we'll just see how we get on with it. If we go around this side, not a lot happening here. There are the cut down chilli plants. We left them in over winter, having clipped them back with the hope that maybe they might come back to life, but I don't think they will. We will just have to see what happens. We're trying to decide what to do with the watering system because it wasn't ideal. I think we're going to remove the drip tape and just get a retractable hose and able to water plants individually. So moving outside, oh, it's glorious. Not a lot happening in this bed at the minute. There's some strawberry plants left over, and the blueberry bush isn't looking too healthy. We'll need to maybe refresh the soil in that and see what's going on. The sage plant is doing okay, and there's still some kale, but in here it has gone to flower, so it'll probably go to the chickens, I would say, and they will be most grateful for that. But oregano down here did really well over the winter. and there is some rainbow chard that got eaten alive. Now, I don't know if you remember that asparagus that I showed you guys a couple of weeks ago, but we decided to just to hell with it and to plant it out. And we did this yesterday, so we'll see how we get on with it. And we may have an asparagus bed yet, albeit a small one. I also took out the lemon verbena plants that were in the polytunnel and brought them outside because they kind of took over quite a large patch last year. So we'll see how they get on out here. Hello girls! So we had one of our chickens depart the flock, sadly. She passed away. So we're down to 7 chickens, but they have actually come back on the lay really, really strong. So we have an abundance of eggs right now. Now the reason I'm over here is to show you the lemon thyme plants. I gave them quite a severe haircut in the hope that it's going to stimulate some new growth into it, because they were looking very woody. So we'll see if that works. And then over here is the other lemon verbena plant that I transplanted, and the chives. Other than that, there's not a whole lot going on in this part of the garden. We have that bed that we put in last year that we didn't do anything with. I hope this year we are going to manage to get some beetroots and onions and probably some carrots in here too. So watch this space. I want to thank you for joining me this week. I hope you've enjoyed our chat whilst I get some seeds planted. I'm really looking forward to you guys following along and being able to show you the progress of all the plants as they come up and they go into the polytunnel. It's something that fills me with an awful lot of joy, and you know, there's something good for you about getting your hands dirty. The microbes in the soil are actually really good for our mental health. So being out here, if you're in a bad mood even, is going to make you feel so much better. So I would encourage you all to go and get your hands a little bit dirty. Until next time, my lovelies, take care.